At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
Hi, I'm Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He's a former state counsel, free transparent planning. What can a business owners do to maximize their retirement saving with the solo 401k? None other than Mr. Alex Langan.
Hello. Thanks for having me on. This is a great opportunity.
Welcome, Mr. Alex, on Book 101 Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Absolutely. So I'm a financial advisor, licensed financial advisor, owner of Langan Financial Group based in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Prior to that, I was an attorney, clerked for the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, and I kept getting tired of attempting to right the wrongs after harm was already done to people, being reactive. And so I switched to being a financial advisor, joined my family practice to be proactive, so I can, as a fiduciary, help people avoid being harmed by their providers.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Alex. Thank you. And today, let's talk about what can a business owners to do maximize their retirement savings with a solo 401k. So let's start with the core advantage. For a self-employed person or business owner with no employees, what makes a solo 401k the gold standard compared to the other options like SEP, IRA, or simple IRA, especially for those looking to maximize savings quickly?
That's a great question, Daniel. So to start, you have so many options, you're not sure what to go with. You want to start with pricing and investment options, and you can actually structure the solo 401k to be the absolute cheapest, so cheap compared to the other plans that this would actually be as cheap as or potentially cheaper than a 25, even a $50 million general 401k plan. So that's one of the best reasons. The second best is the flexibility in a solo 401k. A lot of people contribute monthly just based off of cash flow. Others wait until they talk to their accountant or their advisor and determine how much they should put into it, especially if it's a commission-based practice or business that they have, because you can put it up to 100% of your profits, net profits, up to, if you're under 50, you can put in up to $70,000 a year into this. There's a lot of flexibility.
Indeed, lots of flexibility. And beyond the higher contribution limits, what are the lesser known but powerful features of a solo 401k, like the Roth option, loan provisions, or mega backdoor potential that make it uniquely flexible?
I love these questions. You've done your homework. So you can do pre-tax. Typically, you think of it like a traditional IRA, money that goes in prior to being taxed, saves you on taxes for this year or whatever you put it in. And as you alluded to or mentioned, it's also Roth after-tax dollars. You do want to be careful depending on your situation. If you're in a higher tax bracket, I actually recommend doing pre-tax over the Roth, because if you put it in Roth, it can go against your qualified business deductions too. For that, you put it in as an employee share. So you can put in this year's $23,500, next year's $24,500. And then everything else you put in has to be an employer match or profit sharing, and that's always pre-tax. There are some caveats though to that, whether they're catch-up or super catch-up contributions if you want to get a little more technical.
Sir Alex, is there a specific income threshold or business structure where it becomes a no-brainer to those solo 401k over other plans?
I honestly think it's probably always more beneficial to do a solo 401k over any other plan, because you can structure it, the flexibility to structure it so nice for you as an individual business owner. So I'd say you should always consider that first, which is rare. Other people think simple IRAs or even a SEP, but you're capped in a SEP, you're capped at 25%. Depending on your business structure, you could be capped in a solo 401k. You don't have the 25% limit. You're limited to your W-2 income as an employee, but you can always put it in as a employer as a profit sharing as well. So like I said, you have a lot more flexibility with it.
Profit sharing, I like that. Master Alex, contribution strategies and maximization. Can you walk us through the dual contribution magic and how do the employee salary deferral and the employer profit sharing contributions work together? And what is the math to hit the current $69,000 total limit for someone under 50?
You said, how do you do the math?
Yes, please.
So the math, breaking it down, it all comes from, depending if you're a Schedule C, if you're an S corp taking a W-2 salary, you break it down as what you categorize as employee versus employer. So it depends how you're being taxed on it off your entity structure. That said, if it's a W-2, that can be categorized as an employee, and that is the 23,500. You can do extra if you're over 50. You do a catch up. If you're between 60 and 63 in a given calendar year, you can do a super catch up contribution. This year is very important. You can do pre-tax for super catch up and catch up. That's 7,500 and a little over 11,000 for the super catch up. Next year, it has to be a Roth or after-tax contribution. So that's really, really important to know. A lot of people will get dinged if they don't realize that they have to be putting it as Roth. They're going to have to recategorize, probably put them in a different account, and they're going to pay several $1,000s more in taxes if they don't structure it appropriately. So that's the employee side, the 23,500. The employer side is the gap between 70,000 minus the maximum that you put in as the employee. So 70,000 minus 23,500 being under 50. That's what you can put in as a match or as just straight up profit sharing.
Again, profit sharing, people. So, for a business owner with a variable income, what is the smart strategy for determining contributions throughout the year? Should they set a percentage, wait until year end, or use a different method?
Yeah, so variable income, it does get a little trickier. I always like to say maybe put it in. It's balancing dollar cost averaging into the market. So the market fluctuates in a given year. For instance, as of April 9th, it was down almost 20% this year. So if you put all your money in there, you're a happy camper because you just made a whole lot more money this year compared to the industry standard or the index standard, which is around 18% this year for the S&P 500. That said, cash flow can be challenging. What if you don't make that much? You're going to have to pull it out, do some tricky accounting, maybe not take the deductions that you wanted to just to show that you had that income. So if it does fluctuate, I recommend maybe putting in a little bit, just the amount that you're absolutely certain that you can contribute, and then talking with your accountant prior to the 18/15 deadline of 2026, whatever year it is, and then figuring out what the amount is that you're able to put in as either employee or employer, and then just cutting the checks, getting it in then. Obviously, don't wait till April 14th. You don't want to be late. You got to do a little early. So hopefully you're on top of things. You can do it in March or something like that. So combination between maybe a little cash flow, putting it in throughout the year. But if you're absolutely uncertain where you're going to end up, then just go ahead and wait until March or whatever to talk to your accountant and make sure that you're completely able to put in whatever amount you decide to.
Yes, indeed, the earlier the better, people. And Mr. Alex, what are the common mistakes or misconceptions people have about calculating their maximum contribution, especially when it comes to net self employment income?
The biggest issue is the unknown of how much money am I really making, especially if you don't have a good bookkeeper or, fractional CFO, being a small business owner. You obviously don't have any employees having a solo 401k. One thing to note, though, is if you do hire your wife, she can actually contribute too, or, your husband, spouse, whatever, significant other, if you're married, legally married. Um, they can also partake in this if they're working a business with you. So you can put in up to 140,000 in that instance, um, if they're involved in the business to some extent, receiving W-2 income or having some of the profit sharing, as long as they're a part of the business. Also, you can tie this with a cash balance plan or a defined benefit plan. We have clients that can put in close to $300,000 pre-tax into plans if you structure it correctly with a solo 401k, profit sharing, and then a defined benefit or a cash balance plan. So there's a lot of stuff you can do, especially the more income you're making.
Mr. Alex, advanced features and tactics. Let's talk about the Roth Solo 401k option. When does it make a strategic sense of business owner to allocate contributions to Roth versus traditional?
So a Roth to traditional. So a Roth solo 401k to a traditional IRA, or just like to like solo
Yeah,
Roth to
the
solo,
pre-tax.
the pre-tax perfect.
Yeah,
So
please.
I I actually have changed my mind over this, or I guess evolved would be a better term. So I think that if you're in a low income tax bracket,
Mhm.
put it in the Roth. The higher the income tax bracket you get, meaning the more money you make, I would start leaning more towards the pre-tax, just because of the tax savings, especially if you do proper planning. You can do Roth conversions in years that you don't have as much income. So if your income's fluctuating, you have a really good year, dump it all on pre-tax. Next year your business is cyclical, you don't have as good a year. You can actually convert some of that. So you're not going to convert some of your pre-tax to your Roth account. When you're in a lower income tax bracket, you could easily save 20% in taxes alone doing the conversion in any given year. If your income's steady but growing, I would start considering to switch, depending on your effective tax rate. I would consider switching maybe around 15 to 20%. I would definitely be putting in pre-tax. And that again goes back to, as a business owner, putting in Roth can go against your qualified business deductions. So you might as well take advantage of that instead of contributing to the Roth.
The mega backdoor Roth. It's a famous strategy. Is this a possible within a solo 401k, or if it's so the specific plan provision and circumstances are required to execute it?
Exactly. Yeah. So it depends on what your plan document states. And this is why it's important to have good partners that are providers. You got to be really careful with who you team up with. That's why I'm writing a book about exposing the industry and the monetary greed out there for these guys, these providers. But if you get a good provider, somebody that's a fiduciary looking out for your best interest, they will set it up in the plan document. They'll talk to you about the plan design, what you're thinking. They will incorporate a discretionary profit sharing aspect, as well as the potential for a mega backdoor Roth, which is a phenomenal tool that people should be using.
The loan provision can be tempting, Mr. Alex. Under what very specific circumstances might borrowing from your solo for 1k be considered option, and what are the risks that make it last resort?
For taking a loan out.
Yes, please.
So actually, it could be a really powerful tool. I guess I'm not a conventional advisor in that respect that says never take on debt. The way that loans work, you can take out 50% of your overall value in your account, up to $50,000. So when you get 100,000, then you can take out 50,000. Based off your plan document, you can determine exactly what that percent is that you're paying it back, and you're paying yourself back. So I don't mind taking money out if you have a Roth, solo 401k, you have a Roth. If you pull money out to utilize for something, you're paying yourself back, not the bank, and you're paying yourself back after-tax dollars into an after-tax bucket. So it's a win-win. I get a little hesitant if you're pulling it out, putting it back in pre-tax, because you're just going to get taxed on money that you just pulled out, and paying back with after-tax dollars. You're going to tax yourself again. So be careful with that. The way the loan percent works, the rate of the loan that you have to pay back for interest, it's usually 1% to 2% higher than what like prime would be. So it was as high as 9.5%. As the feds are decreasing rates, it is decreasing. So it's SoFi now, not prime. I apologize, but like I said, it can be a powerful tool. You just gotta, on top of whether that makes sense, if you have to pull money out, yeah, it could be a good opportunity to pull it out from there so you don't take it from a bank. But then also look at the arbitrage, the difference of what you could be earning versus what you have to pay yourself back. And then if it's a little bit too high, maybe it doesn't make sense.
Mr. Alex, as a wealth management or coach, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
Long-term goals for business owners or for
Yes,
myself?
business, both. Can you?
Well, being a business owner, our long-term goals are to continue to grow steadily. As we take on more clients, we're not going to take on too many. We do limit ourselves to the amount of clients we take on in a given year. But I actually am really, really focused. This is a family business I'm in. So it's my dad, my mom, my brother. There's 14 of us total, but 4 of us are family members. My brother and I are really, really serious and focused on helping the community and being community involved. Not everyone likes their family. I get it. You'd rather, maybe go to the dentist and spend Thanksgiving with them. We're fortunate that we're not like that. We really love each other, care for each other. We extend those values to our clients, and we extend it to the community as a whole. So my business goals are to continue to be involved in the community and hopefully help our nonprofits, local nonprofits, because they're really the backbone of what happens here. As far as the goals are for us, for business owners in general, everyone's different. Everyone has different priorities. I am really big on financial security, making sure, you can take care of yourself today, be prepared for tomorrow, happen to what ifs that occur throughout that time period, but enjoy moments. I always make the joke, you don't want to be eating ramen and cat food today just so you can retire tomorrow. So enjoy today. So I want people to be happy in what they're involved with.
Yes, be happy, people, and good luck to your goals, Mr. Alex, and looking forward for more success. And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
Piece of advice that want to be like me. First off, reconsider that. I don't know if I give that type of advice.
Consider that, yes.
Just be passionate in what you do. I find in college, I almost went to med school and I'm studying for the MCATs. And I realized as I'm studying, I strongly dislike this, even borderline hate this stuff. So I had to reevaluate, reengage, and I fell in love with the law, and ultimately fell in love with being the ERISA law, which translated to being a fiduciary advisor of 401k plans. So I say do what you're passionate about.
Yes, indeed. And thank you for that advice, Mr. Alex. And what is the single most costly mistake you see business owners make their solo 401k that they could easily avoid with the right setup or advice?
Yeah, the most costly mistake is hiring someone that's an advisor that's not a fiduciary and partnering with unethical providers that are just trying to extract as much money as possible. I've seen people lose over a period of 30 years saving hundreds of thousands of dollars due to price gouging and their hidden fees. That's why in my book I write about exposing these the systematic methods that everyone goes through to try to stop. We try to stop them just educate people. This is what they're doing. This is why they're doing it. And you have no idea because it's behind the scenes. The statements don't show it. It's difficult and challenging to determine what the fees are, how they're doing it. So we have a step-by-step guide to show everyone how they're doing it and just to verify that, trust but verify that your plan is as best as your providers say it is.
Are there any state-specific rules or consideration that could impact solo 401k planning that people often overlook?
Not state specific. Solo 401ks are governed by ERISA law, which is federal. So you need to team up with a third party administrator that'll help you with the plan document, oversee it. Once you get to $250,000 in a total account for your solo 401k, you got to file a 5500 form. So that just raises your hand to the IRS and says, hey, yes, we got this. We're doing it right. You can verify if you want. And then get an advisor that's hopefully helping you pick low cost. You can actually use ETFs in solo 401ks. So whether they're low cost ETFs, mutual funds, whatever, but just taking the appropriate risk and asset allocation that makes sense for you.
Makes sense indeed. And Mr. Alex, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in 5th season, abstract poetry in 2nd season, and my book 101 review in 5th season too. Comedy 101 3rd season, and food 101 in 6th season. Geography 101, love letters, movie 101 review, music 101 4th season, science 101, sex 101 2nd season, and my baby podcast law 101, mental health 101, Bible verses 101, and coming at least December, Entrepreneur 101. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcasts. Finally, Mr. Alex, for ambitious business owner listening who wants to supercharge their retirement, what is one advanced or underutilized strategy with a solo 401k?
So one advice is make sure that the plan document's set up right. Make sure that you're with the appropriate record keeper or custodian, wherever your money is at, and they're not price gouging. And then you got the right investments, low cost ETFs. There are a lot of other strategies you can do that make sense, but just be aware and be safe that you're in appropriate investment vehicles.
Yes, people, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Alex. So can you please invite our listeners to support your business, your advocacy, or any projects that you're doing right now?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me at langanfinancialgroup.com. My email is alex@langanfinancial.com. I would invite everyone to connect with me. Happy to talk. I'm easily available. And hopefully you guys can pick up a book. It's coming out this spring. Again, that's 401k Expose the Fiduciary Formula.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Alex Langan, because if you support him, for sure, more and more empowering advocacy to rise. So, Mr. Alex, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Daniel. Thanks for having me here.
What can people see you soon?